So my name's Steff Rowe. I'm the first woman to finish an Africa race in the Malle Moto category. I had the support of RE ZRO and I rode with their body armour. It was flexible and comfortable and allowed me to feel good and confident on the bike. So I want to thank them for their support and helping me to achieve this amazing accomplishment. I mean, it started quite a few years ago, kind of the idea of rally. When I started racing enduro in England, I went to a talk by Tamsin Jones, who's a British racer who did the Dakar in South America. And she was kind of quite a normal person, started riding a bit later in life as well. Meeting Tamsin, then I did an enduro in Wales, and Patsy Quick was racing, who's also a British Dakar rider. So kind of like saw these female British racers early on in my enduro riding that kind of gave me a bit of inspiration. I already started looking, I think in 2012, at like doing a rally, and unfortunately had a really bad injury in 2013. So I didn't walk for almost 2 years. So I smashed my knee up really bad, and I needed bone grafts and everything like that. So it wasn't a particularly good prognosis from the doctors. They said I'd never walk again pain-free. I'd like never have an active lifestyle. So yeah, it was not great. And my 6-year project then just completely went out the window because like, well, maybe I won't even be able to ride again. 2 years to walk again. So I was back on the off-road bike at like the end of 2016. And in 2017, I then went to this rally in Greece, signed up, but still wasn't really sure if my knee would hold out because, 7 days of riding, long days, it's pretty intense. And when you've had a nasty accident and bad injuries, a lot of days of riding in a row could have, been too much. But luckily, my knee held out and I loved it. It was awesome. I loved the navigation. It was a beautiful country to ride in. And so I've done, and that's the Hellas rally, I've done that one pretty much every year since. Then signed up to my first desert rally, the Carter rally in 2023. And then, I've just like taken my journey step by step. That one, I then did Rally de Morocco in October 23. Last year I did the same. I did the Carter rally again, Rally de Morocco. And it was a really hard race this year. Yeah, I was happy to finish that. And then that was in October. So then coming to December to do the Africa race. I think it's been going for 16 years now. And so they kind of stepped in to organise what they call like the original Dakar. The actual Paris-Dakar was only like, I don't know how many years they actually did that because again, it sort of moved. And now, so the Africa race has taken that place of crossing from Europe into Africa. So it started in Monaco. We arrived in Morocco, go through Mauritania, Senegal to finish at Dakar, Lake Rose, which is where the Dakar used to finish. I think people are sometimes quite like nostalgic and, it's really hard back in the day and people got lost. And yes, for sure, like, there are riders that got lost for like 3 days. It was pretty mental. And we didn't have like tracking systems like we do now. In terms of security and things, it was very different. And they were on bigger, the bigger, heavier bikes. It was way less technical, I think. Like an Africa race has kept that sort of similar style. It's a lot of more open, fast stuff. You're still going into the dunes and things like that. It might not be a note for 30 kilometres. It's just follow a cap for, which is very much like how Dakar was before. So they kind of kept that spirit of the old style of the Dakar rally. The Malle Moto category is quite special because you've got no assistance team, whereas everyone else, they have an assistance team. So at the end of a long day of riding, they just park their bike up and then they're free to have a massage, a shower, eat, chill out. Whereas in the Malle Moto category, you get back and then, the day's not over because you then got to work on your bike and get it ready for doing a load of more kilometres the next day. Yeah, it is an added pressure as well because if something goes wrong, it's up to you to get it sorted. So you've got to be quite confident, I think, in your mechanical ability. It's always a learning process and I just enjoy the extra challenge of it, and I like working on the bike, and I feel it's a bit like old school Dakar style as well. It was, you don't have a big fancy support team, just yourself and your Malle, your metal box of your tools and your spares. Luckily, I took a spare clutch as well and changed that in the evening. It's an easy job, but the hardest job is you're in the middle of nowhere in the desert, and it was like quite windy, so just trying to keep everything clean and dust free, sort of opening the side of the engine up. It makes everything a bit slower because you're just trying to keep everything clean in there. So, even fast, easy jobs are not so easy in those conditions. It's really fundamental that you've got the right protection, because the chances of having a crash, you're always going to take a tumble. And if you're not protected right, it can mean the difference between brushing yourself up and getting back on the bike or staying on the ground being hurt. So you really want to be well protected. But at the same time, there's nothing worse than if your riding gear is sort of uncomfortable, doesn't fit you quite right, because sometimes that in itself can take concentration off, and if you don't feel good, and it's not a great place to be as well. So right kit is it's a really something that shouldn't be overlooked. Riding with the RE ZRO armour, it's super flexible and really well ventilated, so it's really nice to have that high level of protection, and kind of not notice it's there, because it doesn't, it fits well, it's flexible, it moves with your body, doesn't, make you get hot or anything like that. I've had a bad accident. I know the price that you pay, and for me, I have a mental block. If I'm not protected, I don't feel comfortable whatsoever. I have zero confidence, and it's like a complete game changer. And like when you feel protected, you feel good, you feel safe, and then you can, turn the throttle. Yeah, so rallies are long days, a lot of kilometres, and anything can happen. The bike has got to survive, but also you just need to hit one rock wrong, and you have the falls, crashes, and normally you dust yourself off and get up and carry on, but sometimes you don't and you hit the floor and you hurt yourself. So that's kind of part of it as well. Unfortunately, it's like I say, it's not a 20-minute motocross round, it's not a 3-hour enduro, it's long days and several days together. So you always need a little bit of luck on your side as well.